Howdy. Today we will be taking a look at FansToys Viper. And, you know, the more that I look at him, the more I think he kinda looks like Fireflight from Transformers Generation 1. But that's probably just a coincidence. This figure comes with one double-sided blaster and one alternate face sculpt. The blaster can be split apart, although it doesn't have two handles, so I guess he just kinda has to hold the other one by the clipazine. In his robot mode, Viper looks pretty good. In standard FansToys fashion, almost the entire figure is covered in paint. They don't use the same red metallic paint as they used on FansToys Goose, or Iceman, or Maverick, which is kind of a shame because that paint was really nice. Instead, it's covered mostly by this kind of reflective, kind of shiny red paint. Again, it's not as metallic, but I still think it looks pretty good. The white paint is basically the same used on Maverick, and I think that makes it look really, really nice. The only parts of the figure that I can see that aren't painted are the face and the hands, which seem to be made out of just a cast white plastic. And another note, the hip skirts are apparently wrong, according to FansToys. They're supposed to be blue instead of this kind of silver color, so they'll be shipping replacement parts to people who ordered these figures, I guess. Otherwise, I think this figure is pretty good. The articulation is kinda lacking. It only gets to about 90 degrees in basically everywhere you can think. The shoulders, the elbows, the knees, even the legs really only bend forward and not really backward at all. But, you know, I guess that's fine for what these figures are designed to do. I think this figure looks pretty good. Here's how FansToys Viper scales with Deluxe Class Deep Cover, Voyager Class Sweep, and Leader Class Grimlock. Here's how FansToys Viper scales with FansToys Parkour, FansToys Jive, and X-Transbots Big Load. Here's how FansToys Viper scales with FansToys Iceman, FansToys Maverick, and FansToys Goose. In his vehicle mode, Viper is a McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom II. In his vehicle mode, FansToys Viper looks absolutely incredible. This is probably the most successful jet form I've ever seen on any transforming action figure ever. Of course, if you look at the bottom, there's still kibble from robot mode, like the chest and the hip skirts, but if you look at it from the top and the sides, I mean, it looks just like a McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom II. There is hardly any compromise made to the body of this jet, and it's just absolutely incredible. Don't get me wrong, the other jets in the, Etherion Air Defense Force, okay, the other jets look great, but none of them are as cohesive, especially on the bottom, as this. You know, a lot of figures that turn into jets kind of look like they're robots folded up underneath the jet, but this just looks like somebody hollowed out the bottom of an F4 Phantom II and put a robot in there. Like, it doesn't look like a transforming action figure from the top or the sides. It's really only given away from the bottom, and I think that's incredible because it makes the profile of the jet absolutely impeccable. Here's how FansToys Viper scales with Deluxe Class Deep Cover, Voyager Class Artfire, and Leader Class Laser Optimus Prime. Here's how FansToys Viper scales with MP52 Starscream and MPM10 Starscream. Here's how FansToys Viper scales with FansToys Maverick, FansToys Goose, and FansToys Iceman. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at FansToys Viper. I got this figure from Nick the Toy Guy. If there are any other figures you'd like me to take a look at next, leave a comment down below. And as always, I'm Leo, reminding you that plastic toys don't belong in plastic prisons. See you next time.